life goes on, honey, to her, my baby.
Woke up looking for the Barkley. High key, keep a horn on the back of my seat. High key, on shit, the blueprint is by me. Wish to get off, I get off with my feet.
What up, YouTube? I got a little bit of a different style video for you today. It's not necessarily a review this time, it's more of an after action report. I did my first 2-gun match and I was looking on YouTube to watch like what to expect because I was nervous, to be honest with you. Like, didn't know what to bring, didn't know what to expect, just kind of a basic guideline on the website. So basically the breakdown is any 9mm or 45 pistol, check, and any 223, 5.56 or 7.62 rifle. And other than that, it's whatever you want to bring. So as long as they fall into those categories, you can have whatever you want. So out of my choices, I went with the Staccato XC just because I have a lot of time under this gun. It shoots so well. Crazy big compensator. Got the antimatter wing on there, and this is probably my best shooting gun. Certainly one of my favorites to shoot, and it's not even close. So I wanted to give myself as much advantage as possible because I actually wanted to be competitive. And then I went with the Blackout Defense DTL, Quantum DTL. So that stands for dual taper lock. So they've got the dual taper lock here, and then they make everything in-house. So this is their muzzle brake. And it is also chemo. I didn't run a can in this, so I just ran it with the brake and it performed flawlessly. I'm close to 2,000 rounds on this rifle now, and I have not had one malfunction. So that's why I went with this, just because I didn't want to worry about anything messing up during the match, just because I was already going to be nervous, and I don't have a lot of time under rifles in general, at least compared to pistols. So I was hoping that the pistol portions would carry me, and they kind of did. I ended up getting 9th out of 37. So I was actually really happy with that because I was just hoping to get the top half, but I ended up cracking top 10, which was pretty sick. So now I'm going to sort of set my next sights on getting top 5. And I think that's realistic now that I have a baseline to see where my skill level was at. So I went with Reptilia furniture on this build. So we got the Reptilia hand grip, I almost said hand guard. Reptilia grip, Reptilia stock, Reptilia QD mounts. Love these, they're super awesome, and that clear ano for the vibes I think is super sick. And it's also another NC company, they're just right down the street from me, which is pretty badass. And then I went with mostly all flatline Fiberco gear for my belt. Got their dump pouch, I got their pimp, which is their practical improvised medical pouch, or close to that if it's not exactly, and their sling. And I normally run a lot of different slings that I've tried. Blue Force gear, the Slingster, I've tried a couple other ones, and this has been my favorite. The padding is super nice, not too rough, but it's not as soft as some of the other ones, which I thought at first I wouldn't like, but actually under use, it's nice because it actually doesn't move very much. So it kind of helps give you a good enough friction without pulling on your skin. Kind of the best way to describe it. I'm sure that's not a perfect explanation, but I think you can kind of get what I mean. And then just there, as you can see here, their loosening and tightening system with this QELA sling, they call it, is super awesome. Nice and tight. You can run, get back up, loosen it. You want to swim it, super fast, super nice. I couldn't have been happier, to be honest. Couldn't recommend Flatline Fiberco enough for that. And then got the Stoic Solutions barricade bag. This thing was super awesome. I usually don't run hand stops on my rifles. For the most part, I'm kind of I don't know what you would call it, but I just like to reach out pretty far, and I do like a push-pull. So I bring the rifle up, and then I sort of pull into myself and push. And it just kind of keeps me nice and stable for those far, you know, if you have to do some far standing shots without a barricade. And then I don't like anything to rub. Pause. I just kind of will C-clamp. So I'll get on something like this and C-clamp grip and get down to the rifle. So I don't want a handguard in the way. But then with something like this, it's nice because you just come right up. You can sit in nice and tight and pivot, move, and it's a super steady bag. So this has been actually quite a game changer for me. Ran it in a couple classes before I did this match and was super happy with it. So I went with it in the match and it helped me on a couple of stages for sure. So Stoic Solutions, shout out to those guys, badass company, and they make super, super nice gear. So I definitely recommend these. I keep them on a bunch of my rifles now. Went with the LPVO, the Vortex 1-6 MRAD, the Razor. It's definitely my favorite LPVO I've ever tried. Would highly recommend that. The dot inside, I don't know if you've tried other LPVOs, but if you have, you know that a lot of the dots are super dim, especially in broad daylight. They suck in comparison to like an actual just red dot. This one has like sunlight bright. I mean, you have to turn it down, and it has like a gazillion light settings, which is nice. But yeah, it's more bright than you'll ever need, which is great. And then I went with an offset, 45 degree offset Trijicon RMR for the dot, for those closer shots. And I will say that is the biggest thing that I am going to change. I actually hated it. Not because I hate the dot, I like the RMR, but I didn't like transitioning like this. I found that I like a top dot a little more, but I'm actually going to run neither. I'm not going to run a top dot on my next build, and I'm not going to run offset dot either. I'm just going to run the LPVO. I've been practicing a little more with just working my presentation through dry fire immediately to the LPVO, and it actually is just fine. And you can get a good presentation and you can shoot very close just fine with just the LPVO. So I'm gonna run that for a while and see how I like it, and I'll give you guys an update on that at some point. But for now, that is the biggest thing I would change. I'm not gonna run an offset dot anymore. I didn't like it at all. I was having a lot of trouble, and then I just ended up running the match just through the LPVO with a low power. That would be the biggest thing that I would change. Other than that, I honestly wouldn't change anything. This was fucking perfect. It went really, really well, and the only limiting factor I felt like was my skill and just my lack of time under the guns. But now that I've taken a couple classes and done my first comp, I am super excited because now I super have the addiction. I caught the bug. This was a great choice as well. It complemented this really well. The transitions to it were really nice. It's not too heavy because I don't have a crazy steel grip on there. So the thing about a match like that is you don't want the heaviest gear because you have to run a lot, and you want to find a happy medium for stability because you're going to be tired. And so you're going to be, and you don't want to run, then that is when you don't want a heavy ass gun. So if you're freshly, if you have fresh lungs and you're just standing there, standing still, and you just want to take like some good accurate shots, you want as heavy a pistol as possible. But you have to find a happy medium when you're running stages where you're running a lot, doing a lot of reloads, and you have to do a lot of small muscle memory, or like small muscle manipulations and things like that. So it's just about finding that happy medium. So for me, I was happy with what I went with. This has a polymer frame, so it's not a crazy heavy steel frame gun. And then this rifle being 16 inches is longer, so I could easily take all of my longer shots without having to worry that I need any holds or anything. It's just everything out to 400 yards, I think, was the furthest target in the match. I don't even need to hold over. So there were definitely a couple of stages that just felt a little out of my comfort zone as far as like I hadn't shot anything like that before. So you just kind of get in your own head of like, can I do it? And yeah, they all went fine, but I'd say that's the biggest thing I would try to adjust for the next one, is just don't be surprised by what stages they come up with, and don't, shooting is shooting. You don't need to worry like, oh, is that some sort of target arrangement I've never seen before? Yes, but so what? It actually doesn't matter. Once you get in the flow and you hit flow state and you're just moving and shooting, it all feels the same. So that was a big thing for my first comp that I would have wanted someone to tell me. So that's what I'm telling you guys. Definitely drop in the comments if you've done one before. I'd like to know what two guns you picked or what two guns you prefer, if you have done one before, and if you haven't done one, what two guns hypothetical would you pick? And it doesn't even have to be from your collection. Like, money is no object. Which rifle, which pistol? Let's argue down there because you're never gonna agree, right? So yeah, appreciate you guys swinging by. This is my little review for a two-gun match, and I'll see you guys on the next one.